Hi, everybody. Sorry to keep you waiting. We're getting a recording going for those who couldn't be here, and coffee is also brewing out there for those who might have wandered by the window and looked for that. And Jen's got hot water going too. So we are getting to hear from our 5 confirmation students and their 5 mentors. These are first-year students, so this is their first go-through on these projects. You might recall that our setup on this is that at the start of Lent, we share with them $40 from congregational funds that they can use as seed money to spur whatever comes next. And I expect they might have something to say about that, what they did with their money and what they did for their projects. So the 2 focus areas are either creativity or generosity. And so what that means to them and what they do with that, you'll be able to hear and explore. Jen can be sort of Pastor Jen can be sort of hard-nosed about this. So the last batch of confirmation kids, they did their first year project, and then the next year they were getting ready for whatever of their projects, and she said, "You all did the other one last year, you need to do the other thing next time." So we'll see what we hear from these students, whether they did generosity or creativity, and how Jen takes that next year when they come around to it again. First up, we have Thomas, who is away at a state basketball tournament in Oshkosh this morning. So Thomas did a video for us, and then I think his mentor Dan is going to give a little bit more or be available for questions or whatever that might be, yeah? Okay, so here's Thomas.
Yeah, no, Thomas does a fantastic job of explaining exactly what he did. Oh, Thomas does a fantastic job in the video of explaining exactly what he did. So I'd say let's start with that, and then I'll maybe add a little bit more perspective.
Thomas. I worked with my government mentor Dane. We made dog treats that we sold to raise money for the Dane Country Humane Society. The dog treats have pumpkin, peanut butter, and oat flour, which we mixed in the kitchen and baked in the oven. My dog Daisy and Dane's dog Milo thought they were terrific. We choose to support the Humane Society because they help animals. They find homes for animals on medicine. The homes these animals would be cold and wet, and not always have food or water. We gave $246 to the Humane Society. We also went to visit and see how it works. It feels good to help animals. They are an important part of our lives. Daisy gives me a lot of kisses, even when I am sad. And that makes me feel happy again. Bess from the Humane Society can help other people be happy too. The people and the pets can both take care of each other. That's the same kind of love for each other as Jesus teaches us. Thank you for letting me do this project and for helping me support the Humane Society.
So a few things that I might add, certainly happy to answer any questions as well. Thomas really enjoyed being the one to go and buy the ingredients at the grocery store, and so it went really start to end on it. And then in addition, you might have seen us selling the dog treats on a Sunday morning here. He also went into his neighborhood and expanded there. As far as perspective, the time at the Humane Society with Thomas was excellent. You could really see that. I mean, we each kind of experienced God in our own ways, and Thomas mentioned a little bit in there, that being with his dog helps to, I think a lot of us can connect to that. Connecting with a pet is helping you feel better if you're feeling down or something. But just watching him with some of the animals, I could tell that was a way that, or it really seemed like that was a way that he really connected, could kind of experience God through those animals and wanted other people to have similar experiences. So, yeah, it's been fantastic working with him. I can answer any questions if there are.
Not a question, I got a comment.
Yeah.
We just returned from the state of Washington, where we were visiting our son and daughter-in-law, whose 2 dogs thoroughly enjoyed their treats.
Fantastic. Glad to hear that. All right. Well, I don't remember who is next on the order of events here, but
Anders and Scott.
Anders and Scott.
Hi, I'm Anders, and what me and my mentor Scott did was we made a box and collected sports equipment. With the money, we also got 3 different types of brownies, baked them, and sold them at church. I decided to apply my generosity with sports because some people can't have or they don't have equipment, and I feel like everybody who wants to play sports should be able to play sports. Something that surprised me was that the amount of equipment we got, because it was way more than I expected, and I think it was pretty generous because we took the money and equipment, and the Boys and Girls Club was happy to take all the equipment, and it really felt good because most of all the equipment that they take goes to people that need it. Like I said, I chose sports because I love playing them, and it's really similar part of my life. And it made me feel really good donating because, it made me feel good because the people who don't have things, makes me feel sad because when I see them, it like kind of like think about how I have stuff and they don't, and so I think that really supported why I chose this. Yeah.
Yeah, I just add on to what Andrew said. The drop-off at Boys and Girls Club, I think, was a highlight for me. The two staff people there couldn't have been happier with everything you all donated in the tub. And every time I held something up and I said, "Are you sure you guys want this?" They're like, "Absolutely." Including that orange life vest, whoever considered that sports equipment, they were all over it. And I put on the slide, but they were actually talking about how the kids would be so excited about what y'all donated that they were going to fight over it, in a good way. So, yeah, I think Anders really did a good job of combining his love of sports and the church and getting everybody involved in kind of a different way on a project with the donation element of the equipment. And as Rich in the back row can attest, people have a lot of stuff they want to get rid of. So, yeah, it was a lot of fun to get to work with Anders on the project.
Also, one thing that when I started this, I didn't really think it was gonna go that well, and I didn't think we were gonna get as much equipment as we did, but I learned that people are way more generous than you think. Thank you.
And as a sign of God's love, hours after that photo was taken, Anders broke his finger. So.
So what did you do with the money you raised from the brownie sales?
Oh yeah, we took that money and then we also gave it to the Boys and Girls Club, and yeah, they really liked having all the donations.
What were some of the coolest, weirdest stuff that you got donated?
I think some of the weirdest stuff was probably that life vest, and the coolest stuff was probably just the amount of like hockey sticks. I didn't know people were gonna donate some hockey sticks, but that was the thing they're gonna say that the kids probably would fight over.
We did get a variety of skis, which we did not donate to the Boys and Girls Club, and that you may see in a future confirmation project. So,
Well, that's interesting because as the stuff was coming in and being cool sports stuff and Anders legging sports, I was wondering how much of it was just going to migrate to Anders' house. So, just the skis, huh? All right, thank you. And next, my list says we get Claire and Beth. Oh, wait, no, Freya, sorry. Freya, your name was underneath a coffee mug. Try your clicker and see if you get clicks.
Yes.
Okay, great.
I chose a generosity project. For my project, I painted cards and sold them. The proceeds are going to Voces de la Frontera. Not anymore. I chose to do note cards because of mainly two reasons. One is that I remembered my Brits project from last year, and I remember thinking that I would really like to do an art-related thing, and painting is also something that I love doing. And then I also remembered my grandma's note cards, which do really well. And I thought that I could do something similar to that. I originally wanted to donate to ELCA Good Gifts, but after ICE invaded Minneapolis, I really wanted to help. But once I was ready to donate, most of the programs run in Minneapolis that were helping families there were closing down, so I chose to donate to Voces. I was really surprised by how fast the idea came together, and I was also surprised by how fast the cards themselves sold. The generosity of the congregation was also really heartwarming. I got a lot of donations. God says, love thy neighbor, and I see that as trying to help where you can, and that is what Voces does. That's also why 2 of my originals had verses about love. There was a moment when I was bagging food for families in Minneapolis. I hadn't been having the best day. I was a little bit sick. But at that moment, I felt like I was helping others, and I could feel that that is what people meant by the Spirit of God, helping other people. I didn't know that I could work up the courage to sell my art because I'd only ever given it away to my family. I've always felt like I wanted to help others who were struggling, but I didn't always know how, and this gave me a way to help significantly and also was within my skill set. And I made $350.
So along the lines of this MCC Rocks, one of the questions that we were given to kind of put thoughts together for the story that they were going to tell about the projects was, what surprises you? And so my question for Freya was there anything about making this $350 that surprised you, the generosity, et cetera? And she goes, no, I already knew that MCC was generous. She goes, but I guess I could say that it was very heartwarming to see how the congregation embraces all these students. And I also want to say, Pastor Jen, that this was a creative project for sure.
Thank you for the presentation. I'm just curious where your inspiration comes from for the cards, the drawings you chose.
So a lot of the paintings were other versions of paintings that I'd done. I did a lot of night skies and candles before. And then my Aunt Marian, who you saw on the slide, taught me how to do the petals for the flowers. And I was really excited to try that. So, but some of the paintings, I mostly just was like, okay, things that I connect with MCC, nature. So I just tried to draw nature-y things, draw and paint nature-y things. Worked out.
So notice that Freya just said things that associate MCC. I mean, these kids really do embrace our culture here. They really do pay attention, even though they might be at the tables or whatever. But I mean, I don't think when I was her age I would have known what our congregation was embracing at the time. But if you also, I don't know if this works. Yeah. The top left card, she painted. If anybody was lucky enough to get a Christmas card from the Henning Olsen family, that was it. And I was like fascinated with that. And so I don't know how many times I told Freya, you have to involve that one in the project somehow, because I think that is just so amazing.
This is great. I wonder if the Voces had a response, or what was the response when you gave the donation?
Because I just finished selling last week, and I have not been able to get to Voces, we are hoping to go next week and donate.
How did you connect with helping bag groceries?
So that was an organization that my aunt was coordinating, and that was originally one of the organizations in Minneapolis I had wanted to donate to. So that is what I had wanted to do, but they were one of the programs that was ending the week before I was selling.
So they had been, my sister's school is in a neighborhood, it's the neighborhood school for a very poor and heavily immigrant community, but it's a magnet school, which in Minneapolis means, or in St. Paul, it means that kids from other areas are bussed in. So it was a very mixed income school. And so they were able to organize to support families that did not feel safe leaving their houses throughout the surge. And they had a huge, elaborate food delivery system. Freya can talk a little bit about the different kinds of food they delivered. But the week we were there was the second to last week. And then they did one more week of food packing. And then they were providing access to some food pantries for families that were still having trouble. But Freya felt like that started to get a little bit too far away from the activity that she was engaged in. So.
Yes. So each family got a pack. So while I was there, it was a school day. So I was one of the only kids there. And so each family got a pack of like regular foods so like bread and eggs and milk and butter. And then everyone could sign up for what they called a culture pack, where like Latinx families would get a bag with tortillas and pinto beans and jalapenos, and they would like bag different rices, and you could sign up for what you needed, and they would provide it.
I'm just gonna say that Freya works very hard to paint all the note cards.
Yes. I spent a couple hours of one of my snow days painting, I think, 28 out of 32 of the note cards. And then the rest were kind of spread throughout that week.
Thank you, Freya and Rowan.
So we decided to support WisCares, which is an organization that gives free veterinary care for their pets to people with a low income or homelessness. And yeah, we decided to raise money for them.
Is that a no?
Nope.
Which button do I push?
I think on the right side.
Oh. So for our project, we picked generosity for our confirmation project, and we decided to paint rocks and bake cookies and then sell them to raise money for WisCares. And thank you for giving us money. Yeah, we don't know the words. We chose WisCare because we liked how they gave free veterinary care to people who need it, and they sell pet supplies cheaply to keep the pets healthy. What does WisCares do? WisCares offers veterinary care for low-income individuals and free social services for families in Dane County experiencing homelessness. WisCare provides fostering and boarding if their pets for pets when their people need medical care or shelter that does not allow pets. Full veterinary service for those who need. This was the x-ray room they had at the place, and that is actually an 11-year-old dog, but he was very cute. WisCare is thoughtful and organized. Cats and dogs are treated in different spaces. Each room has a chest of medical supplies. In the cat room, there was a cat tree and a plug-in air freshener with calming scents. In the dog room, there were toys and treats. So, aligned to my faith. Animals are God's creations, and they deserve to live as well as we do. Linked to our teachings. We are all God's creations, and pets deserve to be cared for, whether their owners are rich or poor. Personal impact. I felt proud of the time I spent and the money you shared to keep these pets happy and healthy. So there's where we were selling cookies that one Sunday. Oh yeah, and rocks. Forgot about those. And these are some pictures we got at the WisCares. So yeah, that's their cat Yoshi. He would break into people's lunch boxes and the food pantry, so he was wanted. There was a cute dog we met, very cute. And there was our happiest customer, very happy about her rocks. Keeping vulnerable pets safe and healthy. So that's where they keep all of the pet food for people to buy cheaper than at the store. And over there we had one of the people who worked there's dog, very cute. If you'd like to learn more, you can scan this. All right, questions?
I was just going to add to what you said about the low cost for things. If you happen to have lost your pet and you have a lot of pet supplies like cat trees, you can donate, and they accept donations of supplies too. So, okay.
And the food and treats can be open. Right, it doesn't have to be like new stuff. If you just are halfway through a bag of dog food and don't eat it.
I was wondering if you've taken care of pets, that this is why you have this affinity towards
Yes,
them.
I did have a dog. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm wondering when you were selling your products if there was any confusion about which ones were the cookies and which ones were the rocks.
We kind of joked about that, but I don't think we had any confusion in the end.
We kind of specialized in flat, round objects for our confirmation
Yeah.
project, but it was fun baking the cookies together, and Claire found a recipe in a book from her grandma, and there was just the page was turned over, so grandma kind of picked the recipe for us. They were fun to make, and the rocks were fun to make, and again, the generosity of the congregation was so lovely. People were so interested in the poster and the project, and the products too. The cookies seem to go over well, and the rocks are out there in many hands now. And again, Livia was just so happy with her little ladybug rock that she got, so that was fun. Dan?
I have the mic.
Oh, okay.
I have already claimed the mic. I was just going to say that I'm super excited with spring coming to put my rock out. So I keep looking where it's sitting, and I'm very excited. So thank you for it.
I was very sad that I was not able to get a cookie. I wanted a cookie.
We got good reviews.
Yes, we did.
I was just curious if the WisCares is an organization that you knew about beforehand or have been connected with, or if this was something new to you.
No, Beth actually told me about this organization. I thought it was a very good idea.
Lisa Bauer mentioned it, so we got the information, and I think the Women's Salad Supper had donated to it in the past. They were super receptive, really welcoming when we went to visit. We met all of the vets, we met the staff. It's a wonderful program, and they work in collaboration with the UW Vet School. So they have training for the students that come there. So when they go out to their practices, after they graduate, then they're aware of people with low incomes and people who have no homes, and they can just kind of keep that in their mind to help people out there in their regular practices also.
Yeah, they would like do stations during their I think last year of vet school. They would do rotations, and they would say that going to WisCare was one of their favorite rotations.
I just want to say that I got a rock that says hope, and I have it outside my front door. It seems the perfect message for this time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your time.
I guess it's Annalise.
For my project, my aunt Kathy and I made a quilt for Lutheran World Relief. I decided to make a quilt because I wanted to make something that would make someone happy and be useful. These are the fabrics that we used. I chose them because I like bright, happy colors and because I like cats. I was surprised by how many steps there are in making quilts. Usually with the quilters, I only do 1 or 2 parts, so it was nice to try all of them this time. Kathy shared a lot of her sewing experience with me. I think my project is an act of faith because I was able to make something with my hands and give it to someone else. Helping others is part of my faith, and here's us piecing it together. And this project taught me about Jesus and God, because in many of the Bible stories, Jesus and God offer things to the person who needs it the most, like when Jesus healed the blind man. Here's me sewing. And I learned that making a big project, like a quilt, goes a lot faster with more people helping. Also, I had a lot of fun. And then here's the back of the quilt, and then at the bottom is us all pinning the edges.
With Emily and Rita, who came in to help with that.
Thanks to Kathy, Emily, Rita, and my mom for helping me make the quilt, and the MCC quilters for donating the fabric for the back. Thank you for listening.
You probably know that for years, MCC has had a group of quilters who make many of these quilts. I think Annalise's is a very special one this year among all the many. But these quilts traditionally have gone around the world. The last few years, many of them have even stayed in the United States for victims of wildfires and flooding and hurricanes. The story that sticks with me about these Lutheran World Relief quilts is a story from Tanzania. Larry and I have a friend. She was a former intern of Larry's when he was a pastor, who is now a regional representative for Lutheran World Relief. And she was telling us that in Tanzania, Lutheran World Relief was giving a lot of food relief and medical relief, and the kids were still often not thriving, not gaining weight. But then in this region, when they got a shipment of these quilts, all of a sudden the kids started gaining weight. They had just been so cold at night that they couldn't thrive. So these quilts keep people warm. Sometimes they're used as floor coverings. Sometimes they're used to keep sun off people. They're used for many purposes, but Annalise can feel good that she's helping someone out.
Questions or comments for Annalise and Kathy?
Thank you for sharing that, Kathy. I had no idea. Annalise, how young were you when you started going to the quilters? Did you accompany your mom? Have you been doing this for a long time?
I've been doing it for a little bit. I don't go super often, just occasionally, but it's pretty fun.
As a kid, was she there as a? Okay.
Do you want the microphone?
I would say maybe like 5, but yeah, it hasn't been very frequently. Yeah.
As a person who has sewn a lot before, how much of this would you say was ripping out stitches, and how much would you say is actually sewing?
There was a surprisingly small amount of ripping out stitches, but none of this was hand sewing. It was all with a machine.
What was your favorite stage of the quilt making? Have you chosen a expertise?
I thought that making the tops was really fun because I guess I didn't really know that much about the process of making it before, and it was kind of fun watching it come together.
That's where you get to use your creative juices in picking your colors and how to lay it out.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, students. Thank you, mentors. Any questions or thoughts for any out of the 5 as things have percolated in your minds? Okie doke. Oh, Sarah, yes.
So given the generosity of the MCC for cleaning out their spaces, maybe you Conformans need to think about gardening, some donation for gardening or donation for kitchens or any, just to play on. Yes, no, this is a selfish request.
Although, Sarah, it also makes me think that, so end of confirmation, they write their faith statements, and I'm always saying to mentors, you can also write faith statements, or they'd work on these worship notes, these yellow worship notes, and I always say these are out for students or for others. If you want to take a worship note, you can. So maybe this, Sarah, says that it's not only a confirmation project to be able to collect things, but you could kick off the garden and kitchen donation bin.
I am so thankful to all of you mentors and students who worked on this. I'm so impressed with the varied ideas and the way you wanted to share your gifts and your talents, and I think you enrich us. So thank you so much.
Unfortunately, Linda just said what I was thinking about, so ditto.
Annalise, is there any way to track where your quilt will go? And can you tell me again what fund it was? Lutheran World?
It's for Lutheran World Relief. I'm not sure if there's any way to track it. You'd have to ask someone who knows a little more about it.
For a while, we would put these barcode things in the boxes when they get sent off, and apparently that system didn't always work so good. So now we get a publication once a year that tells us, out of all the quilts that are made by various groups through the year, where that year they went. So we usually have some idea. And it's never just one place, because there are thousands of quilts that are made. We don't make thousands, but we make quite a few. Probably like 300 a year. I think we. Yeah. Right. So.
And for many years, this has been going on. Hildy McGowan has tracked all this, and she could tell you exactly. I think she's here. Was Hildy here?
How many total, Hildy, do you suppose?
I think we're at 4,780.
4,781.
All right, we're just as I start to wrap up.
I'm sorry.
Keep going, that's fine.
I had a question for Anders. Anders, when you were, I think you had the Boys and Girls Club in mind right away, but you kind of were also inviting people to think about other places. Can you tell us about how you chose Boys and Girls Club and how you knew that they would be able to accept stuff?
Well, I think they have a pretty cool program of how they like donate it, and also they have like a bunch of apprenticeships and a bunch of they have like a couple of like buildings around that can like and then they said like anything that they don't want, they'll see if any other families will want it.
I'd forgotten until we got there to donate that their headquarters are right off the belt line, kind of by Home Depot, not the belt line, but 151. And Jalen Clay, who's an MCC member, he had actually gone through a pre-apprenticeship program at Boys and Girls Club that was really beneficial for him. So it was nice to see another MCC connection to that place, and they do really good work. And they have one of their facilities is right off Allied Drive, where I accidentally drove at first because I thought that's where we were going. But they said a lot of the stuff Anders donated will go there, so.
Okay. Next week is Earth Day Project, so you can come at 9, and there'll be a variety of things around on the grounds, as well as we know there's some letter writing inside with sort of an eco-justice kind of feel from our immigrant support team. There's a letter in support trying to convince Congress to work on visas for farm workers that David Cannon put together, and Rachel Gilbertson has one in support of the Dreamers. So both of those have a little bit of movement in Congress right now, and so that'll be part of our Earth Day activities and celebrations next Sunday. And I can't remember what May 3rd is at the moment, so stay tuned.